Officer for the BPP Commercial Awareness Society. I'm currently doing the LLM Law Conversion course, but I recently graduated from UCL and specialized in economics. So that's why we decided to make a video about the economic impact of the COVID-19 crisis. Of course, I did a little bit of research and we'll put down the articles I read below if you guys want to read them for yourselves or you just want to check the data. And I chose 5 key points I believe are really important about predicting how this crisis might evolve. First of all, I believe there is no place for comparison with previous outbreaks. A lot of people have been talking and comparing it with the SARS outbreak or Ebola or the Spanish influenza in 1918. However, there are several factors which make this one very different from others. First of all, this is a global pandemic affecting more than 200 countries, and the world today is much more integrated than it was even 16 years ago or a century ago when the Spanish influenza happened. So this means that whenever leading economies such as China is having economic difficulties, this would have huge spillover effects to other economies. And also this crisis means that there would be a simultaneous demand and supply shocks. Second point I would like to make is that some countries would definitely be affected more by the crisis than others. These are mostly service and tourism reliant economies such as Spain, Italy, Portugal, Greece, Mexico and so on. Almost 15%, more than 15 actually, from their GDP is coming from tourism. And since tourism and all tourist activities currently are reduced or even non-existent because of the closure of borders, this would mean that they would definitely be hit harder than other more industrial countries. The same goes for service-oriented economies. This is because the majority of output in services cannot be recovered. So today, for instance, if you want to buy a phone, you would probably wait until the crisis passes, or you would even order it online now. However, if you want to go to a restaurant, you would not be able to do it. Firstly, because restaurants are closed, and secondly, you would not be able to, or it's unlikely to make up for all the times you couldn't go to a restaurant during the crisis. So a third point I would like to make is that supply chains currently are very disrupted. So if Chinese factories shut down, which most of them, not most of them, but some of them have already done so, and transportation routes collapse, this would have huge spillover effects for companies such as Hasbro, which manufacture most of their products in China, or other companies such as Apple or car manufacturers and so on. Another point is that there would definitely be a shock to labor supply. The more people get sick or even die, the greater the decrease in labor supply. So they would not be able to go to work, and this would result in a decrease in labor supply. This of course depends on the mortality rates in different countries due to infections, but it would still be an issue. But most of all, the thing that is most important in determining how severe the crisis would be is for how long the measures are implemented. So even though we're saving lives through having these complete lockdowns, the longer we have them for, the greater the consequences for the economies. A study I read shows that if we have a complete lockdown for a month and a half, we would have, for instance, a 3.5 GDP world average decline. However, in comparison, if we have 4.5 months of complete lockdown, this would be more than double, and for some countries, even more than 10% decline in GDP. So, thank you guys for listening. I hope this was useful. We never know what the actual economic impact would be, or at least at this point we don't know, but these are some of the factors which are important to have in mind when thinking about this. Thank you.